Hi, my name is Jay Mohr. Jon Heffron, great comic, was on the podcast Mohr Stories, and unfortunately we had terrible audio problems, but it would be unfair to Jon, who gave his time for the podcast, to not air it, because I want to make sure you guys get to go see him live. I want to make sure all of his plugs get out there. He's a great comic, at Jon Heffron on Twitter, so we decided to air this as a bonus episode. We're still coming out every Monday and every Friday for your ear holes, but now we're putting the Jon Heffron episode up as a bonus out of respect to Jon. It would be horrible if it was just too funny a conversation. The audio is poor. We apologize. So we just need you to hear how funny Jon is. Otherwise, we would have shelved it. But Jon is just too powerful and too great. So bear with us. We're very sorry. The audio on this completely sucks. However, there's so much funny things that Jon says that we want to put it up anyway, warts and all, because who would we be if we didn't put our name on it? So enjoy this as much as you can. I know the sound sucks, so don't tweet me and say the sound sucks. I just fucking told you the sound sucks. Just enjoy Jon Heffron and go see him where he says he's performing. Thank you.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game change.
I want to work with you a lot.
Oh yeah!
Welcome to Mohr Stories. Jon Heffron. Ladies and gentlemen, Detroit Rock City. Johnny H. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. It was kind of, last time you said my name was about 7 years ago. So it's weird. As you were saying my name, through Pavlov Dogly, my heart actually started to race a little bit.
Real? Oh, because for last comic, you were funny as hell, bro.
That thing, though. But that was weird because you have it, you know what I mean? Because that's the memory.
Heffron!
Yeah. I remember looking, by the way, last comic was a show I was on with Jay in 1974, for those of you who don't remember. But I remember being on the show.
I had the really long, skinny mic.
It was in black and white. It was a thing. But I remember it was me and Alonzo Bowden, and you had a cue card with the winner on it. And I was sitting there literally almost going to crap myself. And your hand was covering the card, and I was off to the side, and you moved your hand just for a second, and I saw kind of a J, and my brain wasn't working. I was so nervous. I was thinking, is it J? Wait, that's an A, right, for Alonzo? Is that how they would make an A? And then
this all happens in probably a half
a second. Like a half a second. Yeah.
Like being in battle.
Yeah, like all this talk went through my head.
You and Alonzo tried to take to Crete.
Yeah.
With First Recon. And as the bullets fly, you went, it's either an A or a J.
Yeah.
Need air cover, stat. And it was Alonzo. Sadly, it was an A.
Yeah.
It was a big capital A.
Yeah.
So runner-up. Gary Goldman was here. He was 5th runner-up on Last Comic Standing. So we're moving up in the world. Right. We've had the winner. We have had the 5th and 4th runner-up, and now we have the actual runner-up.
Actual, right? You mean winner? You know I won, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to see if you knew.
Oh, I got you. Alonzo won season 3. Remember that weird season 3?
The season that got canceled, and then I went on. Bert sat here. I didn't even remember it. Bert told me. I went on like Arizona TV, like Good Morning Tempe,
and canceled it.
And I said, "No, shush. No, they canceled Last Comic Standing.
Right.
But we had those 2 episodes in the can, and Alonzo had won. So they go, hey, what's going on with Last Comic Standing? I go, it got canceled, and it said Alonzo Bowden won." And what they didn't tell me, you might want to tell the creator of the show what your plans are.
Right.
Was that they were going to put it on Comedy Central. They were going to outsource it to another network. But they never told me that. To me, my show was just canceled.
Right.
So I said, Alonzo Bowden, won. And it's too bad no one will ever... And then my phone, exploded. Like the one in my car, the one in my pocket, my hotel. And they're like, you just told the 40th largest market in the country who the winner was. I'm like, well, it's canceled. And they go, well, we're going to, Comedy Central and the internet.
Yeah, it was on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for Alonzo because when I won it, there was union guys throwing cannons, and then Alonzo won. It was like 3 helium balloons they bought at Ralph's. It just, tossed it. It just.
They actually rented Rip Taylor to throw confetti backstage.
Yeah.
Not on stage. His price, he has 2 different quotes. There's a Rip Taylor on stage quote and a Rip Taylor backstage quote.
I remember that seems weird. So I won it, and then I was going to do a bunch of stuff that you kind of got from doing the show, like Ellen or just some, you're on a really popular show that you just won, and they wouldn't let me do any of that because of season 3. Like, so that was the one thing, like, even a prom queen gets to be queen for a year.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I was done. Like, so, like, you won the show, and, like, I'm doing Ellen, I'm doing this, and then they go, I think it was NBC, goes, nah, that would be a disadvantage to anybody else on the show. You can't do any of that stuff. I'm like, well, then can I not do season 3? Like, I just won season 2. Can I not? Do I have to be here? They're like, no, you have to be here. You're still with us contractually till, I forget all the math. But let's say...
I don't understand that. If you had won, why couldn't you go...
They wouldn't let me. I was supposed to do, now I forgot the shows because it was 100 years ago. I was supposed to do a bunch of stuff, and
let's just say Ellen, Today Show, Conan. We'll make that up. That's we're hypothetically.
They said it would put me at an advantage over everyone else. If I was still getting exposure and the show was still running. So if I was on Conan and also was on season 3, that would be unfair to everybody else.
Because that's right. Season 3 was when we brought back previous cast members.
When it was season 1 versus 2.
Okay.
Because season 2 was so popular, they're like, well, let's keep this party going.
I hate to side with the network, but I can actually see their point. But it's not fair to you, like, you want to reap the benefits of winning.
Hey, I'm not complaining. 7 years later, I'm still not homeless. I'm definitely not being that guy who has success who's complaining about it, because I've made that mistake before. I made the mistake one time of going, oh, I'm just working so much, I'm so exhausted. And you tell it to a comic who's like, really? I've won it, so...
Not to be Bert heavy, but Bert, when we were like best friends, used to call me and go, let me call you back. I just, oh man, I was on a satellite media tour, radio tour for my show. And then I had a show at the Irvine Improv, and now I got the kids. I'm like, really? What's that like? Explain how hard that must be, because I have no idea. I don't know how showbiz works.
Yeah,
you must be tired. But he, in his defense, all of a sudden, you're used to just doing a club and getting up at 1 every day. Then all of a sudden it's like, no, you have to do a radio tour for a show. You got to meet everybody.
Yeah, it's all legitimate, tired, and complaining. You just have to do it around the right people.
You have to do it around people little as successful or more successful than you.
And they go, yeah, I understand, because nobody feels bad for it.
I remember SNL. That was my big thing was, who can I possibly say this sucks to? Because everyone I'm around would probably stab me to get on the show. A lot of people would stab me anyway, apparently. But, you can't say to your roommate who's sleeping on your couch because you're the guy at SNL, like, bro, what the fuck? I can't make it work up there. Because he would go, well, let me try to make it work.
Yeah. So you just learned. I was doing that. I just got maybe 17 weeks in a row. I was on the road up until this actual weekend right here.
Right.
So whatever the math is, before December. And I was to the point where, and I'm usually not confrontational, but you can tell you've had enough when before the show, when the crowd is being sad to DMX, and I'm looking at the sound guy going, do you realize they're 40-year-old white people coming in? Is there any way you have some 80s hits you can be playing? Why are they being sad to this music?
Shoot me all
Yeah. I don't like the energy brings to a comedy club.
FX and my dog's fight.
Yeah, I'm like, put some you have Lionel Richie's new one, his country one, where it's all slow songs. Play that.
Play Hello, and I'll put on my clay bust up on the stage for people to finger my head.
Hello. But you just find yourself, when you travel too much, where all that little stuff.
That's a long hustle you just did, bro.
Yeah.
That's long.
Yeah.
17 weeks or whatever it is from December to now.
Yeah, it was. And it's all a process. That's another thing. It never goes away.
Thursdays to Sundays, most of them?
I bet you fly out on Wednesdays, back on Mondays.
Yeah, and you got to do radio Thursday morning. What night
Yeah.
of the week? I'm interested to hear your answer. Because there's a specific time on my weekend, if I'm doing, not theaters, because theaters are like heaven sent. It's a one-off.
Yeah.
You go, it's a fancy theater with like a beautiful ornate ceiling. When you do a sound check,
I did those for about a week.
Sure, but you'll do them again. 'Cause and you look up at the roof and you're like, wow, like Al Green played here 2 weeks ago. Like, this is amazing. And then you get that dread of like, there's no way I'm filling this. There's no way I'm going to fill 2,000 seats, and you either do or you don't. There's nothing you can do about it. So I don't know why. A great expression I heard once was, everything in your life that you ever worried about turned out exactly the way it did anyway.
Yeah, that's a great. And for me, or anybody that gets a little bit of fame and then that fame teeters off. So let's use Last Comic. I don't know if I've peaked in my life. That could have been the one and only time at bat, and I swung and it did well. Right, so after Last Comic, I was doing theaters, and just every show was just completely jammed because you had 8 million people watching the show.
Right.
Now, a couple years later, those people all... I feel like, Puff the Magic Dragon? This almost makes me want to kill myself when I think about this. Puff the Magic Dragon story, he's in the cave, little Jackie Piper comes and hangs out with him. Jackie Piper gets a little bit older, stops coming to see the dragon, dragon's still there. I kind of sometimes feel like I am the dragon at the comedy club, and the people just gotten older. People have just gotten older, and they stopped showing up, but I'm still here going, where are my friends?
Album title, Jon Heffron, I Am the Dragon.
I am
the dragon.
So sometimes that happens but you realize it's all the process. There's
But you said you hope you haven't peaked, but I wrote it down right away. I found, not to be like, I'm an OG in this game, man. I've been around. But I've had like 4 different kinds of peak. Like SNL was a peak, Jerry Maguire was a peak, Gary Unmarried was a peak. But then you get like, when you're doing clubs and you can just sell tickets, like you're just a machine of selling tickets.
Right.
Peak. And then you get like, okay, I got a house, I got a wife, you got stepkids or kids, and you settle into like that home life, and you can still duck out and make that money, or you do corporates, like then that's a peak. Like at what point do you sit in your yard and stop chasing the rabbit around the Greyhound track? Like that's the real, what's the real peak? Like neither one of us are going to be in the Avengers.
Yes.
Neither one of us are going to be Josh Duhamel in Transformers.
Yeah, there's a point where you have to just accept and be happy
I am a
where you are.
Middle class guy. I bob along in the showbiz middle class. And there is a tremendous amount of money to be made in that middle class.
Yeah.
You know how I figured that out? I was at Martin Short's Broadway show, and he does the part of the show where he comes out as Jiminy Glick, and he pulls people out of the audience. He puts me on stage, and he goes, I'm sitting here with David Spade.
All right.
And I go, actually, and I'm playing along. Actually, I'm Jay Mohr. And he goes, Jay Mohr, how come you're not David Spade? And he goes, you've been working so long, and yet you still just sort of hover in the showbiz middle class. And him saying that as Jiminy Glick, like on a Broadway stage, my eyes open like, holy shit, like dial it back a little. This is you. This is who you are. You're a middle class.
That's a great way to, because that's exactly how, you feel. I remember before Last Comic.
I can never put my feet up unless I learn right now how to put my feet up.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to stop chasing the rabbit around the track.
Right.
Because this is as high as it goes for me.
I remember right before Last Comic, I think I was engaged at the time, and I was trying to figure out my life. This was before I auditioned for Last Comic.
And you're now married.
I'm not married here. I think I'm engaged, and I remember telling my wife...
You think you're engaged now?
No, this was back 7 years ago.
When you were engaged to your wife.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
all I was saying.
Yeah, that's right. And I had a number amount in my head going, if I could make this a week, I could live a decent life in that number. Then, how Last Comic worked, we really couldn't work the road. I think when the live shows were going on, there was a big chunk where you couldn't really go anywhere for like a couple months.
Like we got 3 episodes in the can. You got to not hit the road.
And you got to be on the thing.
Right?
So, and if you're a road comic, very rarely do you have money saved to make it through 2 or 3 months. You're pretty much paycheck to paycheck. The day I won Last Comic Standing was like a Tuesday, I believe. There was an In-N-Out hamburger place right across the street from the theater we're doing Last Comic. I take my wife and somebody who I don't remember was with us, maybe a guy from the crew or something. I go, everybody gets their hamburgers. I ordered number 3, wife orders whatever. I pull out my cash card, swipe it, declined. And I'm talking 30... what's 3 hamburgers at In-N-Out? $20?
Right.
And swipe it again, and it's probably the thing. You do that fake, rub it off on your...
Hi, my name is Jay Mohr. Jon Heffron, great comic, was on the podcast Mohr Stories, and unfortunately we had terrible audio problems, but it would be unfair to Jon, who gave his time for the podcast, to not air it, because I want to make sure you guys get to go see him live. I want to make sure all of his plugs get out there. He's a great comic, at Jon Heffron on Twitter. So we decided to just enjoy Jon Heffron and go see him where he says he's performing. Thank you.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
I want to work with you a lot.
Oh yeah!
But Jon is just too powerful and too great. So bear with us. We're very sorry. The audio on this completely sucks. However, there's so much funny things that Jon says that we want to put it up anyway, warts and all, because who would we be if we didn't put our name on it? So enjoy this as much as you can. I know the sound sucks, so don't tweet me and say the sound sucks. I just fucking told you the sound sucks. Air this as a bonus episode. We're still coming out every Monday and every Friday for your ear holes, but now we're putting the Jon Heffron episode up as a bonus out of respect to Jon. It would be horrible if it was just too funny a conversation. The audio is poor. We apologize. So we just need you to hear how funny Jon is. Otherwise, we would have shelved it. Welcome to Mohr Stories. Jon Heffron. Ladies and gentlemen, Detroit Rock City. Johnny H. What's up, buddy?
Nothing. It was kind of, last time you said my name was about 7 years ago. So it's weird.